The knife went in cold. That's what I remember most. Not the pain, not my sister's smile, not even my husband's hand covering my mouth. Just the cold. Metal sliding between my ribs like it belonged there, like my body had been waiting for it all along. Then Linda's perfume, that sickly sweet jasmine she always wore, filling my nose as she leaned close and whispered, "Thank you for everything, sis." I died on the marble floor of the home I'd bought with my father's money. The floor I'd chosen because Linda said white marble was tacky. I died looking at the chandelier I'd replaced because Marcus said the old one was too dim. I died knowing I'd spent 10 years making myself smaller so they could feel bigger. Then I woke up. The smell hit me first: coffee and cheap carpet cleaner. Not jasmine, not sandalwood cologne, not the copper penny smell of my own blood. I opened my eyes to popcorn ceiling and morning light filtering through curtains I'd thrown away 8 years ago. My heart hammered against ribs that should have had a hole in them. My hands flew to my chest intact, warm, alive. I sat up. The room spun, then settled into focus. My old apartment, the one I'd lived in before Marcus, before the wedding, before I'd signed everything over and made myself into someone's wife instead of someone's daughter. The clock on the nightstand read 7:47 a.m. I knew this day, June 3rd, the day Marcus was supposed to propose, the day I'd said yes. My phone buzzed. I picked it up with shaking hands. Marcus's name lit the screen. "Morning, beautiful. Dinner tonight? I have something to ask you." The same text, word for word. I'd saved it, screenshot it, sent it to Linda with 3 heart emojis because I'd been so excited to tell someone, and she was my sister, my best friend, the person I told everything, the person who'd held me down while her lover, my husband, stabbed me 17 times. I dropped the phone. It bounced on the comforter, the floral one I donated to Goodwill after Marcus said it looked like a grandmother's house. My stomach turned. I lurched to the bathroom and vomited nothing but bile and the metallic taste of memory. When I lifted my head, I saw my face in the mirror. Young, unwrinkled, no gray in my dark hair. Eyes that hadn't yet learned to look away. When Linda walked into a room, 26 years old, 10 years before my death, I washed my mouth out and stared at myself. The water ran cold over my hands. Real. Solid. Impossible. I didn't believe in rebirth or second chances or karma. I believed in blood on marble and the sound of my sister's laughter as I choked. But here I was, breathing, given another chance at the same life, the same choices, the same people, the same knife. No, not the same. This time I knew. This time I could see them clearly. Marcus, with his practice smile and his sandalwood cologne that probably cost more than his rent. Linda with her jasmine perfume and her wide-eyed innocence that everyone believed because who suspects the baby sister? This time I wouldn't fight for him. I wouldn't compete. I wouldn't win. I'd give him away. The thought settled into my chest, like a key turning in a lock. Cold, perfect, right. If Linda wanted my life so badly she'd kill for it, she could have it. All of it. Every poisoned piece. I picked up my phone, typed back, "Can't tonight, work thing." Rain check, sent it. Watched the dots appear as he typed back. "Tomorrow then?" "It's important." I didn't answer. Let him wait. Let him wonder. In my first life, I'd rearranged my entire schedule for him. Canceled plans, skipped work events, made myself available every time he called. Not anymore. I got dressed jeans and a sweater Marcus would have called frumpy. Good. I wasn't dressing for him anymore. I made coffee in the little French press I'd replaced with an expensive espresso machine after Marcus moved in. The coffee tasted better than I remembered. Bitter and strong and mine. My phone rang. Linda. I stared at her name on the screen, and for a moment I was back on that floor, jasmine in my nose, her voice in my ear. My hand trembled. I answered, "Hey, I haven't heard from you in forever. Want to grab lunch?" Her voice was bright, cheerful, the same voice that had read at our father's funeral, that had helped me pick out my wedding dress, that had said thank you for everything, sis, while I bled out. Sure, I said. My voice came out steady. Calm. That Thai place on 5th? Perfect. Noon? Noon? I hung up, stared at the phone. 10 years. I had 10 years of knowledge she didn't. 10 years of watching her perform the role of devoted sister while she fucked my husband in the guest room. 10 years of playing the fool. Not this time. This time I'd play along. I'd smile. I'd trust. I'd hand her everything she wanted on a silver platter, and I'd watch her choke on it. The Thai place smelled like lemongrass and fish sauce. Linda was already there, sitting at our usual table by the window. She waved when she saw me, her smile wide and genuine-looking. She'd always been good at that. She wore a yellow sundress that made her look young and innocent. 23, fresh out of college, living in my spare room because she couldn't afford rent in the city. That's what she'd told me. That's what I'd believed. I slid into the seat across from her. She reached across and squeezed my hand. Her skin was soft, moisturized, no calluses. She'd never worked a hard day in her life. You look tired, she said, tilting her head with practiced concern. Everything okay? Fine. Just work. I pulled my hand back, picked up the menu I didn't need to read. How's the job search? Her smile faltered for just a second. Slow. You know how it is. But something will come up. She always said that. Something will come up. In my first life, I'd paid her rent for 3 years waiting for something to come up. Then I died and discovered she'd had a savings account with $40,000 in it. Money Marcus had been funneling to her from our joint account. The waiter came, we ordered. Pad Thai for her, green curry for me. The same thing we always got. When he left, Linda leaned forward, elbows on the table. So, Marcus. She said his name like it was casual, like she'd just thought of him. You two are getting pretty serious, huh? There it was. I kept my face neutral. I guess? You guess? She laughed. Come on. He's crazy about you. Everyone can see it. Maybe. I sipped my water. The ice clinked against the glass. I don't know if it's going anywhere, though. Her eyes sharpened. Just for a second. I'm so fast I would have missed it if I wasn't looking. What do you mean? I shrugged. He's nice, but I don't know if he's the one. You know, sometimes I think about ending it. What? Why? She sounded genuinely distressed. Of course she did. If I dumped Marcus, she'd have to find her own meal ticket. I don't feel it. The spark. I met her eyes. Actually, I think he might be more your type than mine. She blinked. My type? Yeah. You always liked those ambitious guys. The ones with big plans. Marcus had a lot of plans. Plans that involved my inheritance, my father's company, my connections. Plans that didn't include me past the point of usefulness. He's too intense for me. Too focused on success and money and climbing ladders. That's not a bad thing, Linda said carefully. It's not a bad thing for the right person. I smiled. Maybe you should meet him. Actually meet him, I mean. Like, hang out with us. See what I mean? Her face did something complicated. Surprise, calculation, false modesty, all in the span of a second. I couldn't. I mean, he's your boyfriend, and you're my sister. I want you to get along. I leaned back as the waiter set down our plates. Steam rose from the curry, carrying the smell of coconut milk and basil. Actually, I'm having dinner with him tomorrow. Why don't you come? I don't want to intrude. You're not intruding. I'm inviting you. I picked up my fork. Come on. It'll be fun. And honestly, if you like him, maybe you can tell me what I'm missing. Maybe I'm being too picky. She bit her lip, doing her innocent little sister routine. If you're sure. I'm sure. We ate. She talked about her job search, her friends, some guy who'd asked her out but wasn't good enough. I made appropriate noises and watched her. Really watched her. She had our father's eyes light brown, almost amber in the sun. The same eyes I saw in the mirror. The same eyes that had looked at me with pity and triumph as I died. How had I never seen it? The coldness underneath the warmth. The calculation behind the concern. Because I'd loved her. Because she was my baby sister and I'd practically raised her after Mom left. Because I'd wanted to believe family meant something. It didn't. Not to her. We split the check I paid, like always, and hugged goodbye on the sidewalk. Her jasmine perfume wrapped around me. My throat closed. I forced myself to breathe through it, to hug her back, to smile as she walked away. Then, I went home and threw up again. That night, I lay in bed and planned. Marcus would propose tomorrow. Or he would have, if I hadn't brought Linda. Now he'd have to wait. He'd have to adjust. And he'd meet Linda. Really meet her. Not just the brief introductions at family events. He'd see her youth, her beauty, her availability, and she'd see his expensive watch, his tailored suit, his carefully constructed image of success. They'd see what they wanted in each other, and I'd step back and let it happen. My phone buzzed. Marcus, can't wait for tomorrow. I have something special planned. I stared at the text. In my first life, I'd been giddy reading this. I'd called Linda and squealed about it. I'd tried on 6 different outfits. I'd said yes before he even finished asking. I typed back, "Me too. For your information, my sister's joining us. Hope that's okay." Added a smiley face. Sent it. The dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally. Of course. The more the merrier. Liar. He was furious. I could feel it through the screen. But he couldn't say no. Not without showing his hand. Not when he'd spent 6 months playing the perfect boyfriend who loved how close I was with my family. I smiled in the dark. Let the game begin. The restaurant Marcus chose was expensive. White tablecloths, dim lighting, waiters in vests who called you sir and madam. The kind of place you take someone when you want to impress them. When you want them to feel like they're entering a better world, a world they could have access to if they just said yes. I brought Linda. She'd dressed up a black dress that hugged her curves, heels that made her legs look endless, hair in soft waves around her face. She looked beautiful. She looked like a prize. I'd worn jeans and a nice blouse. Comfortable. Forgettable. Sister in the background clothes. Marcus stood when we arrived. His cologne hit me first, sandalwood and cedar and money. My stomach lurched. I swallowed it down and smiled. "Marcus, you remember my sister Linda?" "Of course." He shook her hand, held it just a second too long. "Good to see you again. You too." She smiled up at him. "Thanks for letting me crash your date." "Not at all." Any family of he caught himself. Almost said my future wife. Pivoted. "Any family is welcome." We sat. I made sure Linda was next to Marcus, across from me. Made sure I could watch them. The waiter came with menus and water. Marcus ordered wine without asking what we wanted. Expensive wine. Show-off wine. Linda's eyes widened when she saw the label. She knew enough to recognize the price tag. "So, Linda," Marcus said, turning to her with his full attention. "What do you do? I'm between jobs right now." She said it with just the right amount of embarrassment. "Tough market." "What field?" "Marketing. Social media, brand management, that sort of thing. Lies." She'd majored in art history and never held a job longer than 3 months. But Marcus nodded like she'd said something impressive. "That's a growing field. I have some contacts if you're interested. Always happy to help." "Really? That would be amazing." She lit up. Grateful. Indebted already. I sipped my water and said nothing. Just watched them orbit each other. Gravity pulling them together. Marcus asked her questions. She answered with carefully crafted vulnerability. He offered help, connections, opportunities. She accepted with wide-eyed gratitude. I was wallpaper. I was the excuse for them to be in the same room. Perfect. The food came. Steak for Marcus, salmon for Linda, chicken for me. We ate. They talked. I contributed just enough to not seem sullen, not enough to redirect attention to myself. At one point, Marcus reached across and squeezed my hand. "You're quiet tonight. Just tired." I squeezed back. Then let go. "You two are hitting it off, though. See? I told you you'd like him." Linda blushed. Actually blushed, or a good imitation of it. "He's very nice." "He is." I smiled at Marcus. "Too nice for me, honestly. I'm boring. You need someone who can keep up with you." His jaw tightened. "You're not boring." "I kind of am." I laughed. "I like staying in. You like going out. I like quiet. You like excitement. We're different. Opposites attract," he said. But his eyes had gone flat. "Sometimes." I turned to Linda. "What do you think? Do opposites attract, or do people need to be similar?" She looked between us, sensing something, but not sure what. "I think both. You need some things in common, but some differences too. Balance." "Balance." I nodded. "That's smart. See, you're good at this relationship stuff. I'm hopeless." The dinner ended. Marcus paid, of course he did, with my credit card that he'd somehow gotten added to his wallet. We walked outside into the cool night air. Linda shivered. Marcus immediately shrugged off his jacket and draped it over her shoulders. The gesture was automatic, instinctive, alpha male protecting the pretty girl. I watched him watch her look up at him through her lashes, watched the first spark catch. "Thanks for dinner," Linda said. "It was really nice meeting you properly. We should do it again," Marcus said. "The three of us." "Definitely." I yawned. "Sorry. I'm exhausted." "Linda, you're still at my place, right? Want to share a cab?" "Oh, sure." Marcus looked like he wanted to argue, to insist on driving us, to extend the evening, but I was already flagging down a cab. We got in. Linda waved at him through the window. He stood on the sidewalk in his expensive shirt, watching us go, his jacket still around her shoulders. In the cab, Linda was quiet. I could feel her thinking. "He's nice," she said finally. "He is really nice." "Do you really think you're too different?" I looked at her. Her face was careful, neutral, but her eyes were hungry. "Yeah, I think I do. That's sad. He seems really into you." "Maybe. But being into someone isn't enough, you know? You need compatibility, shared goals, similar values." I looked out the window. "I think he wants things I can't give him." "Like what?" "Ambition. Drive. Someone who wants to build an empire." I shrugged. "I just want a quiet life. Maybe a small business, a garden, a dog. He wants penthouses and galas and power. We're going in different directions." She was quiet for a long moment. "Have you told him that?" "Not directly, but I think he's starting to see it." I turned back to her. "You, though, you'd be good at that life. You've always wanted more. The glamour, the excitement, the status. I mean, who doesn't want that?" She tried to sound casual, but I could hear the yearning underneath. "Not everyone. Some people find it exhausting." I smiled. "But you'd thrive. You have the personality for it. The charm. You know how to make people like you." She looked at me, searching my face for something. Sarcasm, maybe, or resentment. She wouldn't find it. I'd practiced this expression in the mirror for 3 days. Genuine. Supportive. Slightly sad, but accepting. "You really think you're going to break up with him?" she asked. "I think so. Not tonight, but soon. We want different things." I reached over and squeezed her hand. "When I do, would you be weird if he asked you out?" Her eyes widened. "What?" "I couldn't. Why not? You're single. He's single or will be. You clearly have chemistry." I saw it tonight. I squeezed her hand again, then let go. "I'm serious. I wouldn't be upset. I'd rather see him with someone I love than some stranger." She bit her lip, doing the math, weighing the risks and rewards. "I don't know. Just think about it." The cab pulled up to my building. "Come on. I have ice cream and we can watch something terrible." We went upstairs, ate ice cream. watched a romantic comedy where the heroine had to choose between two men and picked the rich one. I watched Linda watch it, saw her imagining herself in that role. When she went to bed in my spare room, the room where she'd later fuck my husband while I was at my father's chemotherapy appointments, I sat in the dark and breathed. My hands were shaking. I touched him, smelled him, sat across from both of them, and played the fool again, but this time on purpose. This time as a choice. It should have felt empowering. It felt like swallowing glass, but it was working. I could see it working. The way Marcus had looked at Linda when he thought I wasn't watching, the way Linda had leaned into him just slightly when he'd put his jacket on her shoulders, the way they'd both looked at me, measuring, calculating, wondering if I really was stupid enough to not see it. I was, or I had been. For 10 years, I'd been that stupid. I'd ignored every red flag, every warning sign, every moment of wrongness, because I'd wanted to believe. I'd wanted the fairy tale, the husband, the sister. I got it, right up until the knife. Over the next 3 weeks, I orchestrated my own downfall with the precision of a surgeon. I invited Marcus and Linda to everything. Dinners, movies, walks in the park. I made sure they were never alone together, not yet. That would come later. First, they needed to build the tension, the wanting, the sense of forbidden fruit just out of reach. They needed to feel like they were stealing something. I started fights with Marcus, small ones at first. I criticized his cologne too strong, gave me headaches. I said no to events he wanted to attend. I forgot to text back for hours. I was busy, distracted, not present. Everything I hadn't been in my first life. He started to pull away. Good. Let him feel unappreciated. Let him feel like he was wasting his time on someone who didn't see his value. And Linda, sweet Linda, I cried to her, told her I thought Marcus and I were falling apart, asked her advice. She gave it generic, sympathetic advice that always somehow included reminders of Marcus's good qualities, how patient he was, how successful, how any woman would be lucky to have him. Any woman like you, I said one night, wine drunk on my couch. You should find someone like him. You deserve it. Maybe someday. She refilled my glass. But right now, I'm worried about you. Do you think you can fix things with him? I don't know if I want to. The wine was real. The tears were real. The fear was real. I was terrified I'd miscalculated, that I'd push them together and they'd just walk away, find other victims, live happy lives while I drowned in memories of what they'd done, what they would have done, what they might still do. But I couldn't stop. I'd started this. I had to see it through. You should talk to him, Linda said. Really talk. Tell him how you feel. I will. I wouldn't. The breaking point came on a Saturday. I'd planned it carefully. Marcus wanted to go to some networking event, the kind of thing where people in expensive clothes drank expensive alcohol and pretended to care about each other's startups. In my first life, I'd gone to dozens of these, smiled until my face hurt, made small talk until my brain went numb, been the perfect accessory on his arm. I can't go, I told him on the phone. I have a headache. Take an aspirin. This is important. His voice had an edge now. The patience was wearing thin. I know, I'm sorry. I just can't tonight. Silence. Then, you know what? Fine, I'll go alone. Actually, I paused. Linda mentioned she wanted to network. Maybe take her? She needs the connections, and she's good at that stuff. Better than me. Another silence. Longer this time. You want me to take your sister to a work event. Why not? You said you'd help her find a job. This could be good for her. I kept my voice light. Reasonable. Completely missing the subtext. She's at my place now, actually. I'll tell her to get ready. I don't think great. She'll be so excited. You're really helping her out, Marcus. Thank you. I hung up before he could argue. Linda was on my couch, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when I came in. Marcus is taking you to an event tonight. What? No, I couldn't. You can and you will. It's networking. You need a job. He has connections. Wear the blue dress. I walked to my bedroom. I'm going to take a bath and go to bed. Have fun. I closed the door, heard her moving around, heard the shower start in the guest bathroom, heard her blow-drying her hair, heard Marcus's car pull up outside an hour later, heard the door close, heard silence. I got in the bath. The water was hot enough to hurt. I slid under and held my breath, counting seconds. In my first life, I drowned. Not literally the knife had killed me first, but I drowned in their lies, their betrayal, their casual cruelty. I drowned in my own stupidity. I came up gasping. They came back at 1 a.m. I heard them in the hallway, heard Linda's laugh, heard Marcus's lower voice, heard them pause outside my door, heard nothing for a long moment. Then Linda's door closing. Then footsteps leaving. Then silence again. I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. It was happening. They were circling each other, drawn together by greed and opportunity, and the intoxicating thrill of taking something that belonged to someone else. They thought they were so clever. They thought I was so blind. Let them think it. The next morning, Linda was glowing. She made breakfast, something she never did, and hummed while she cooked. "Good night?" I asked. Amazing. I met so many people. Marcus introduced me to everyone. I have 3 interviews next week. She set down a plate of eggs in front of me. You were right. He's really generous. He is. I ate the eggs. They tasted like ash. I'm glad you two get along. He's a good guy. She paused. You should appreciate him more. There it was. The first stone. Testing to see if I'd notice, if I'd push back. I didn't. You're right. I should. I smiled at her. I'm lucky. She smiled back. Satisfied. Already planning. I went to work a small marketing firm where I was a junior analyst. In my first life, I'd quit after marrying Marcus. He'd said I didn't need to work, that it was beneath me, that I should focus on supporting his career. I'd believed him. I'd given up my job, my income, my independence. I'd made myself completely dependent on him. Then he'd killed me and taken everything. This time, I worked. I showed up early and stayed late. I built relationships with my coworkers. I saved money in an account Linda and Marcus didn't know existed. I planned for a future that didn't include them, a future where I was small and quiet and safe. But first, I had to finish what I'd started. Marcus started calling less, texting less. He was busy, he said. Work was crazy. I said I understood. I didn't push. I didn't cling. I let him drift. And he drifted right to Linda. I started finding evidence. Her phone face down on the table. Her coming home late with wine on her breath. Marcus's jacket in her room, the same one he'd given her that first night. They were being sloppy. Or maybe they wanted me to find out. Maybe they wanted me to confront them so they could play the victims. So sorry, we didn't mean for this to happen. We tried to resist, but love is love. I didn't confront them. I waited. 2 months after that first dinner, Marcus took me to the same restaurant. Same table, same white tablecloths, same expensive wine. My heart was hammering. This was it. This was when he'd proposed in my first life. This was the moment everything had locked into place. He reached across the table and took my hand. His palm was sweaty. We need to talk. Okay. I looked at him. Really looked at him. He was handsome, sharp jawline, dark hair, blue eyes that looked sincere when he wanted them to. But there was something empty behind them, something cold. I'd mistaken it for mystery. It was just absence. He didn't feel things the way normal people did. He mimicked. He performed. He said what people wanted to hear and felt nothing. I think we want different things, he said. We do, I agreed. He blinked. He'd expected me to fight, to cry, to beg. You agree? Yeah, I've been thinking the same thing. I squeezed his hand, then let go. You want someone ambitious, someone who can match your energy. I'm not that person. It's not that you're not. It's fine, Marcus. Really? We're not right for each other. Better to figure it out now than later. I smiled, calm, reasonable, completely in control. We can still be friends though, right? He stared at me like I'd started speaking another language. Friends. Yeah, of course. Good. I picked up my wine glass. So, how's work? We finished dinner. He paid. We walked outside. He kissed my cheek, awkward, uncertain, nothing like the passionate kiss he'd given me after I'd said yes to his proposal in my first life. We said goodbye. I went home. Linda was waiting up. How'd it go? We broke up. Her face did something complicated. Surprise that wasn't surprise. Sympathy that wasn't sympathy. Oh no. Are you okay? I'm fine. It was mutual. We want different things. I looked at her. He's available now. If you're interested. She opened her mouth. Closed it. That's too soon. You just broke up. It's fine. I mean it. You two have chemistry. I'm not blind. I was. I had been. But she didn't know that. Wait a few weeks if it makes you feel better. But don't wait too long. Someone will snatch him up. I went to my room and closed the door, pressed my back against it, breathed. I'd done it. I'd handed him over, gift-wrapped and ready. Now, all I had to do was wait. They waited 3 weeks. 3 weeks of Linda pretending to comfort me, of Marcus texting to check in, of both of them performing concern while they fucked behind my back. I know because I hired a private investigator, same one I should have hired in my first life. He sent me photos Marcus's car outside Linda's new apartment, paid for with money he'd borrowed from me. The two of them at restaurants. His hand on her back, her head on his shoulder. I looked at each photo once, filed them away, and felt nothing. No pain, no betrayal, just cold satisfaction. It was working. Linda told me at dinner, another Thai place, different location, same menu. I have to tell you something. She looked nervous. Good acting. Marcus and we've been talking a lot. And something's developed. I didn't mean for it to happen. I feel terrible, but I think I'm falling for him. I set down my fork. Oh, I'm so sorry. I know you two just broke up. I know it's weird, but he's amazing. And he feels the same way. We tried to fight it, but she reached for my hand. I let her take it. Please don't hate me. I don't hate you. I squeezed her hand. I'm surprised. But I don't hate you. Really? Really. You're my sister. And, like I said, you two make sense together. You're both ambitious, both driven. You'll be good for each other. I smiled. I want you to be happy. She teared up. Actual tears or a good imitation. You're the best sister ever. I don't deserve you. No, she didn't. They started dating publicly, changed their relationship status on Facebook, posted photos together. Linda moved out of my apartment and into a nicer place. Marcus's money, my money, blood money that hadn't been spilled yet. She invited me over. I went, admired the high ceilings and the view and the expensive furniture. Marcus has been so generous, she said, pouring wine. He's helping me get on my feet. That's great. I sipped the wine. It was the same brand from that first dinner. He had a type. Expensive. Impressive. Hollow. He wants to introduce me to his family next month. I think this is really serious. She looked at me. You're really okay with this? I'm really okay with this. She hugged me. Jasmine perfume everywhere. I hugged her back and thought about the knife, about the marble floor, about her voice saying, "Thank you for everything, sis." Not yet. But soon, 6 months later, they got engaged. Linda called me crying happy tears this time, or performed ones. He proposed. Can you believe it? I'm getting married. Congratulations. I meant it. I was genuinely happy. Not for her, for me. for what was coming. I want you to be my maid of honor. Of course. The wedding was beautiful, expensive. Everything Linda had ever wanted. White roses and string quartets and a dress that cost more than most people's cars. I stood next to her in a bridesmaid dress she'd chosen pale pink, unflattering, designed to make her look better by comparison. I smiled in all the photos, gave a toast about love and family and second chances, danced with Marcus's groomsmen, and pretended not to notice Linda and Marcus whispering in corners, laughing at private jokes, laughing at me. I went home alone to my small apartment and my quiet life and slept better than I had in months. They bought a house, the same house I'd bought in my first life, the one with the white marble floors. I helped them move in, brought champagne, admired the chandelier, listened to Linda talk about her plans for renovations, for parties, for the life she was going to build, the life she'd killed me for. Except this time, she hadn't had to kill me. I'd given it to her. Every piece. The man, the money, the house, the life. She thought she'd won. She thought she'd outsmarted me, manipulated me, taken what was mine. She had no idea what she'd actually taken. It started small. Little things I noticed when I visited. Marcus coming home late. Linda's smile not quite reaching her eyes. Tension in the air like ozone before a storm. Everything okay? I asked one night over dinner at their place. The marble floor gleamed under the chandelier. My stomach turned. Fine. Linda's voice was tight. Just wedding stress wearing off, you know? Real life setting in. Marcus working a lot? Always. She refilled her wine glass. Third time in an hour. But that's what I signed up for, right? The ambitious husband. Right. I watched her drink, watched her hands. Her nails were bitten down. She'd always had perfect nails. You sure everything's okay? I said it's fine. Sharp. Then softer. Sorry. I'm just tired. I left early. Drove 3 blocks and parked. Waited. An hour later, Marcus's car pulled out of the driveway. I followed him, not close, not obvious, just curious. He went to a bar, met a woman, blonde, young, pretty. They sat close, his hand on her knee. I took a photo. Didn't send it to Linda. Not yet. Just filed it away with all the others. The private investigator I'd kept on retainer sent me updates weekly. Marcus was drowning in debt. The business he'd claimed was thriving? Failing? The investments he'd bragged about? Losses. The watch, the car, the clothes, all of it bought on credit. He'd been living a fantasy, playing a role, waiting for a big score. In my first life, I'd been the score. My father's company, my inheritance, my connections. He'd married me, isolated me, and when my father died and left everything to me, Marcus had started planning my death. Linda had been his accomplice. Maybe his lover already, maybe not. It didn't matter. They'd killed me and split everything. Except my father hadn't died yet. Wouldn't die for another 8 years. And this time, when he did, everything was going to someone else. I'd already changed my will, already set up trusts, already made sure that when I died, if I died, Linda and Marcus would get nothing. But they didn't know that. They thought they were playing the long game. They thought they had years to bleed me dry, to position themselves, to wait for the inheritance. Instead, they'd married each other. And Marcus's debts were Linda's debts now. His failures were her failures. His desperation was her desperation. I waited. 3 months after the wedding, Linda called me crying. Real crying this time, I could tell. Ugly, snotty, desperate crying. Can you come over? I went. Found her on the couch in sweatpants. Hair unwashed, mascara streaked down her face. The house was a mess. Dishes in the sink. Mail piled on the counter. The white marble floor had scuff marks. What happened? We're broke. She said it like she couldn't believe it. Like the words didn't make sense. Marcus's business failed. We have nothing. Less than nothing. We're in debt. So much debt. What? How? I don't know. He said everything was fine. He said we were set, but it was all lies, all of it. She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. We might lose the house she'd killed me for, the house she'd wanted so badly she'd held me down while her lover stabbed me. I sat next to her, put my arm around her shoulders. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do. I gave up everything for him. I don't have a job. I don't have savings. I have nothing. She grabbed my hand. Can you help us? Just a loan. We'll pay you back. I promise. There it was. The ask. The expectation that I'd save her, that I'd hand over my money, my security, my future, the way I had in my first life, over and over until there was nothing left to take but my life itself. I don't have that kind of money, Linda. She pulled back. Yes, you do. Dad's company, I don't work there anymore. I left. I'm just doing freelance work now. I have enough for my rent and bills, but that's it. All lies. I'd been promoted twice. I had savings. I had investments. I had everything she thought she'd have. Her face changed, hardened. You're lying. I'm not. You have to be. You always have money. You always bail me out. I can't this time. I'm sorry. I stood. Maybe you could get a job? Both of you? Work your way out of it? She laughed. Bitter. Ugly. A job. Right. You know how long it's been since I worked? No one will hire me. And Marcus is too proud to take anything that isn't executive level. Then I don't know what to tell you. I picked up my purse. I'm sorry. I really am. No, you're not. She stood too. You're glad. You're glad I'm suffering. Because I took him from you. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Saw the desperation, the rage, the entitlement. Saw the woman who would kill me in 8 years if I let her. If I gave her the chance. I gave him to you, I said quietly. Remember? Her mouth opened, closed. She had no answer for that. I left. The updates from the investigator got worse. Marcus was borrowing from loan sharks. Dangerous people. The kind who didn't accept excuses or payment plans. The kind who broke bones and burned houses when they didn't get their money. Linda got a job retail, minimum wage, a humiliation for someone who'd expected to be a society wife. Marcus took a sales job, something with commission, something desperate. They fought constantly. The neighbors complained about the noise, screaming, breaking glass. Police called twice for domestic disturbances. I watched from a distance, visited less, made excuses, built my own life. Started dating someone, a teacher named David, who liked hiking and reading and quiet nights at home. Someone boring, someone safe, someone who didn't smell like sandalwood and lies. A year after their wedding, Linda called again. Her voice was different, flat, empty. I need to see you. We met at a coffee shop. She looked terrible, thin, pale. A bruise on her wrist she tried to hide with her sleeve. He hits you. It's complicated. It's not complicated. He hits you. Leave him. I can't. She stared at her coffee. We're married. I made a commitment. He's abusing you. You don't understand. He's under so much pressure. The debt, the people he owes, they're threatening him. Us. He's scared. So he takes it out on you. It's not like that. But her voice was weak. She didn't believe it herself. I felt something then. Not quite sympathy. I couldn't afford sympathy for the woman who'd murdered me, but something close. Pity, maybe. She'd wanted the fairy tale so badly she'd killed for it, and she'd gotten exactly what she'd wanted. The ambitious husband, the big house, the glamorous life, and it was destroying her. Leave him, I said again. Come stay with me. We'll figure it out. I can't. Yes, you can. No. She looked up. You don't understand. The people he owes, they're not just after him. They're after both of us. If I leave, they'll think I'm running. They'll think I have money hidden somewhere. They'll come after me, then go to the police, and tell them what? My husband made bad business deals? They can't help. She reached across the table. But you can. Please, just a loan. $50,000. It would pay off the worst of it. Give us breathing room. I don't have $50,000. You're lying. I know you are. Dad left you money? Dad's still alive, Linda? I pulled my hand back. And even if he wasn't, even if I had it, I wouldn't give it to you. Her eyes went cold. Why not? Because you'd just waste it. Marcus would waste it. You'd be back in debt in 6 months and asking for more. I'd be enabling you. Enabling me. She laughed. That's rich. You've been enabling me my whole life. Paying my rent, buying my groceries, cleaning up my messes. But now, when I actually need you, you say no? Yes. Because of Marcus. Because I married him. You're jealous. I'm not jealous. I was calm. So calm. I'm protecting myself. From you, from him, from this. I gestured at her, the bruise, the desperation, the wreckage. You made your choices. Now you live with them. You bitch, she said it quietly. You absolute bitch. You set this up. You gave him to me knowing. Knowing what? I leaned forward. Knowing he was broke? Knowing he was a liar? Knowing he was violent? I didn't know any of that, Linda. I just knew we weren't compatible. You're the one who decided he was worth stealing. I didn't steal him. You said I said you could have him. And you took him. You wanted him. You married him. That's on you. She stared at me. I could see her thinking, remembering, replaying every conversation, every moment, every choice, seeing the pattern, seeing the trap. You knew, she whispered. Somehow, you knew. I stood. I have to go. David's waiting. Who the fuck is David? My boyfriend. He's a teacher. Very sweet. Very stable. Very boring. I smiled. Exactly what I wanted. I left her sitting there. Didn't look back. My hands were shaking when I got to my car. I sat in the driver's seat and breathed. In, out. In, out. The jasmine perfume was fading from my nose. The sandalwood was gone. I could breathe. 6 months later, the house was foreclosed. Linda and Marcus moved into an apartment. Small, cheap. The kind of place Linda used to mock. The kind of place I lived in by choice. The kind of place she lived in by consequence. Marcus's debts caught up with him. The investigator sent me photos. Marcus with a broken nose, a black eye, fingers bent at wrong angles. The loan sharks had come collecting. They'd left him alive, but barely. Left him as a warning. Linda left him after that. Finally, moved into a shelter, got a restraining order, filed for divorce, called me from a borrowed phone. I have nothing. No money, no home, no job, nothing. I'm sorry. Are you? I thought about it. Honest thought. Was I sorry? Sorry she was suffering? Sorry she'd lost everything? Sorry her fairy tale had turned into a nightmare? No, I said. I'm not. She was quiet for a long time. Then, why? You know why. I don't. I don't know why you hate me so much. I took your boyfriend. So what? You said you didn't want him. You said this isn't about Marcus. My voice was cold, calm. Sure, this is about you. About who you are, what you are, and what am I? A parasite, a user, someone who takes and never gives back, someone who sees people as resources, as things to be used up and discarded. I paused. You would have destroyed me, Linda. If I'd let you, you would have taken everything I had and still asked for more. And when there was nothing left to take, you would have walked away without a second thought. That's not true. It is. You know it is. You've been doing it your whole life. To me, to Dad, to everyone who ever cared about you. The only difference is, this time I didn't let you. You gave me Marcus. You set me up. I gave you exactly what you wanted. It's not my fault. It wasn't what you thought it was. You knew. You had to have known. I knew he wasn't right for me. I knew you two were circling each other. I knew you'd take him if I let you. That's all I knew. All lies. I'd known everything. Every debt. Every lie. Every red flag. I'd known exactly what I was handing her. What happened after that is on you. I'm your sister. You were my sister. Now you're just someone I used to know. I hung up, blocked her number, changed my locks not because I thought she'd come after me, but because I wanted the finality, the closure, the clean cut. She tried to contact me other ways. Email, social media, letters to my office. I ignored all of it. She didn't exist to me anymore. She was a ghost, a memory, a nightmare I'd woken up from. 2 years after their wedding, Marcus was arrested. Fraud, embezzlement. He'd been stealing from his employer, trying to pay off his debts. He went to prison. 3 to 5 years. Linda testified against him in the divorce. Got nothing. You can't split debts and broken promises. I heard she moved away. Different city, different name, trying to start over. I didn't follow, didn't care. She was gone. That was enough. I lived my life. Married David. Small wedding. Just friends and family. Dad walked me down the aisle alive, healthy, proud. We bought a house. Small, cozy, wood floors, not marble. A garden in the back where I grew tomatoes and herbs. A dog, a mutt from the shelter named Bean, who slept on my feet at night. I worked, saved, built a career on my own terms, made friends who didn't want anything from me except my company, lived quietly, safely, boringly, and I was happy. 5 years after my rebirth, I was in the grocery store, reaching for coffee when I smelled it. Jasmine, sweet, sickly. My hand froze. My heart stopped. I turned. Linda stood 3 feet away. She looked old. Not aged, she was only 31, but worn, used up, gray in her hair, lines around her mouth, clothes from discount stores. No makeup, no jewelry, nothing left of the girl who'd wanted to be a princess. She saw me. Our eyes met. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she walked away. Didn't say anything, didn't try. Just turned and walked down another aisle and disappeared. I stood there holding coffee, breathing jasmine, feeling nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no pain, just nothing. She was a stranger. Someone who looked vaguely familiar. Someone I might have known in another life. I bought my coffee and went home. That night, David asked if I was okay. I'd been quiet, distracted. I saw someone today. Someone from before. Before? Before you? Before this life. Someone I used to know. He waited. Patient. Kind. Everything Marcus had pretended to be. She tried to take something from me once. I let her have it. It destroyed her. Do you regret it? I thought about it. Really thought. Did I regret it? Regret the manipulation. The cold calculation. In the trap I'd set and watched her walk into? No, I said. She would have destroyed me instead. I just moved out of the way. Let her destroy herself. That's not the same as destroying her, isn't it? No. He pulled me close. You didn't push her. You just stopped catching her. That's different. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. I didn't know. Didn't care. It was done. She was gone. I was here. Alive. Safe. Free. That was enough. 10 years after my rebirth, 10 years after I should have died on a marble floor with a knife in my chest, I got a letter. No return address. Handwriting I recognized. I almost threw it away. Almost. But curiosity won. I opened it. I know what you did. I know you knew. I know you set me up. I know you gave me Marcus knowing exactly what he was, what he'd do to me, what would happen. I know you watched me fall apart and did nothing. I know you let me drown. I hate you for it. I'll hate you until I die. But I also know why. I know what I was, what I would have done to you, what I was planning to do, how I was going to take everything, how Marcus and I talked about it, about waiting until Dad died, about making sure you didn't have anyone else, about isolating you, about the will, about the accident we were planning. I know you knew. I don't know how, but you knew. You saved yourself. You damned me to save yourself. I would have done the same. I hate you, but I understand. Don't contact me. Don't look for me. We're done. We were done the day you handed me that poison and smiled while I drank it. Goodbye. No signature. Didn't need one. I read it twice. Then I burned it in the sink, watched the paper curl and blacken and turn to ash, washed the ash down the drain, washed my hands, looked at myself in the mirror. I looked older, 36 now. Laugh lines around my eyes. A scar on my chin from where Bean had jumped up too enthusiastically. Freckles from working in the garden. No expensive creams, no designer clothes, no diamonds. I looked happy. I was happy. I went outside. David was grilling. Bean was chasing a butterfly. The tomatoes were ripe. I could smell them, warm and green and alive. The sun was setting. The sky was orange and pink and purple. Beautiful. Real. Everything okay? David called. Everything's perfect, I said. And I meant it. I never saw Linda again. Never heard from her. She disappeared into whatever life she'd built from the ashes of the one she'd tried to steal. I didn't look for her. Didn't wonder. Didn't care. Some people say revenge is hollow, that it doesn't satisfy, that it leaves you empty. They're wrong. I didn't get revenge. Revenge would have been active, would have been pushing her, hurting her, destroying her with my own hands. What I did was different. I stepped aside. I let her take what she wanted. I let her choices have consequences. I let karma do the work, and it was satisfying. Not in a gleeful way, not in a triumphant way, but in a quiet, certain way. The way you feel when you set down something heavy you've been carrying too long. Relief, peace, freedom. She'd wanted my life. I'd given it to her the version she would have created. The version where Marcus wasn't a prop in my story, but the main character in hers. Where his debts were her debts. His violence was her violence. His choices were her consequences. She'd wanted to be the heroine. I'd let her. And she'd discovered that being the heroine of a tragedy is still being in a tragedy. I didn't feel guilty. Guilt requires believing you did something wrong. I didn't. I'd protected myself. I'd chosen myself. For the first time in my life, both lives. I'd put my own safety, my own happiness, my own survival first. And I'd lived. That was the revenge. Not her suffering. My living. Years passed. Bean got old. We got a second dog, a puppy named Toast, that Bean tolerated with elderly patience. David got a promotion. I started my own consulting business. We talked about kids. Decided, maybe. Decided, not yet. Decided we had time. Dad got sick. Not the cancer that would have killed him in my first timeline. Something else. Something treatable. He survived. Retired. Moved closer to us. Met David. Liked him. Told me he was proud of me. Told me I'd built a good life. You're happy, he said one day. Watching me in the garden. I am. You weren't always. Before, you seemed dimmer. Like you were trying to be something you weren't. I was. What changed? I thought about it. About the knife. About the marble floor. About the choice to step aside instead of fighting. About giving away poison and calling it a gift. I stopped trying to save people who wanted to drown, I said. He nodded. Didn't ask for details. Just nodded. That's wise. Took me too long to learn that myself. We sat in silence. Comfortable. Easy. The kind of silence you can only have with people who don't need anything from you except your presence. "Linda?" he asked eventually. "Gone? For good?" "For good." He nodded again. "That's for the best. She was always." He paused, searching for words. Hungry, in a way that couldn't be filled. "I loved her, but I knew she'd hurt you eventually. I just didn't know how to stop it." "You couldn't have stopped it. She had to stop herself." "Did she?" "In a way. She learned what happens when you bite off more than you can chew. And Marcus? Prison? Last I heard. Fraud? Embezzlement. He was always going to end up there, with or without her. But you knew that. It wasn't a question." I looked at my father. He looked back. Steady, knowing. "Yeah," I said. "I knew. How? Does it matter?" "No." He smiled. Sad but proud. "No, I suppose it doesn't. You protected yourself. That's all that matters. You survived. I survived. We left it at that." Sometimes, late at night, I still dreamed about the marble floor, about the knife, about jasmine perfume and sandalwood cologne and the cold spreading through my chest. I'd wake up gasping, David's arms around me, Bean's weight on my feet, Toast snoring in her crate. "Nightmare?" David would ask. "Memory?" I'd say. "Of what?" Something that didn't happen. But could have? But could have. He'd hold me until I fell back asleep. Never pushed, never demanded explanations. Just held me. Trusted that I'd tell him if I needed to. Trusted that some things were mine to carry. I loved him for that. For the space he gave me. For the safety. For the boring, beautiful, ordinary life we'd built. This was the revenge. This quiet happiness. This peace. This life where no one wanted anything from me except my company. Where no one was plotting. Where no one was circling. Where I could breathe without smelling jasmine. Where I could sleep without checking the locks 3 times. This was the revenge. Living. Thriving. Being happy. Not her suffering, though. I won't pretend I lost sleep over it. But my joy. My survival. My choice to save myself, even when it meant watching her drown. 15 years after my rebirth, I was at a conference. Marketing trends. Boring, but necessary. I was getting coffee during a break when someone said my name. I turned. A woman stood there. Professional clothes. Neat hair. Tired eyes. It took me a moment to recognize her. Linda. She looked different. Older, obviously. But also solid. Real. Like she'd finally grown into her own skin instead of trying to wear someone else's. "Hi," she said. "Hi." We stood there. The conference buzzed around us. People talking, laughing, networking, living their lives. "I work here," she said. "At the hotel, event coordinator." "Oh, that's good." "It is. I like it. It's stable, honest work." She paused. "I saw your name on the attendee list. Almost called in sick. But that felt cowardly. You didn't have to talk to me. I know, but I wanted to. I owed you something. I don't know what. An apology, maybe. Or an explanation. Or just acknowledgement. You don't owe me anything. I do. I owe you my life," she said it matter-of-factly. Not in a grateful way, but in a literal way. You gave me a life. It wasn't the one I wanted. It was the one I deserved. And it taught me things the easy life never would have. Like what? Like who I really was. What I was capable of. What I'd become. She looked at me steadily. "I was going to help him kill you. Did you know that?" My heart stopped. Started again. "Yes." "How?" "I just did." She nodded slowly. "I don't know how, but I believe you. You knew. You saw me. The real me. The ugly me. And you gave me exactly what I deserved." She took a breath. "I hated you for it. For years. But I don't anymore. You saved my life by ruining it. forced me to rebuild, to become someone different, someone better, someone real. I didn't do it for you. I know. You did it for yourself. That's what makes it perfect. She smiled. Sad, genuine. You chose yourself. I'd spent my whole life making you choose me. And you finally said, no. Yes. Thank you for that. For the no. For the boundary. For the consequence. She stepped back. I won't bother you again. I just wanted you to know. I'm okay. I'm better. I'm me, finally. The real me. Not the parasite, not the taker, just me. I'm glad, I said, and I meant it. Not warmth. Not forgiveness. Just closure? Completion. The end of a story. She nodded, walked away, disappeared into the crowd. I stood there holding my coffee, feeling nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no pain, just peace. It was over. Really over. Not just the revenge, not just the trap, but the whole thing. The relationship, the betrayal, the fear, all of it. Over. I went back to the conference, took notes, networked, lived my life. That night I called David, told him I loved him, told him I'd be home tomorrow. Told him I couldn't wait to see him and Bean and Toast in our small house with the wood floors and the garden. Love you too, he said. Everything okay? Everything's perfect. And it was.